Okay, so this is video number 2, and Radim, I was wrong. We are in what's called FHD, which is kind of in the middle video format, and only 30 frames a second, because I have the dual camera going. The front camera, which is the one that faces you, on most phones is just a single camera, and it's not as, I guess, high-end or high-def in its capture. It's more like a general. It can zoom a little, it can be up close, it can, kind of focus in the middle, and so it's more of a basic camera. But the backside, as you can see, just you see the kind of, I don't know what the video is going to look like, but on my end, it's a really smooth pan. It's not getting chopped, a little bit choppy here and there, but I think that's mainly because of the other camera. So what I just did was I made about a 20-minute video, just kind of leading into this project tonight. And I've got Radim in the Czech Republic, who's furiously, exploring his computers via, a learning project that, me and him set and have him achieve, periodically throughout our interactions. And so he's learning his computers right now. He's following me as I'm sending the videos. So what I'll do is I'll take a series of shots, and then I'll follow it up with a video. I'll send him the photos. When the video's done, I upload it, which in this parking garage, it took a little bit of time. I ended up uploading it in about 30 minutes. So that one's uploaded. Then I took some shots of where I'm at now. And so I kind of failed to mention some things earlier. I mentioned Dave. Dave's a friend of mine, and I stopped at his house just to see if I could dig through all of his little treasures. And he's a building manager in an apartment building, so we got to go into the basement, into the workshop, and kind of dig around and see if there's anything useful. And in the absence of a proper, it's like a metal roller. Think of like a handle, kind of like, there's a handle right here. So usually it'll be a handle, kind of like this, but on the end is going to be a little metal roller. Sometimes it's wide, sometimes it's really narrow. And what it allows you to do is when you're laying down this sound deadening, you can kind of like press it into the nooks and crannies. So that, even though that doesn't look super clean, that's like 17 scrubs with degreaser. And then I threw a little bit of Goo Gone, scrubbed it with Goo Gone, and then I did another couple layers of degreaser. So that I decided, well, I should really be attacking this in stages, because it's like 6 a.m. I've been here for over 3 hours, and that's what I got done. The prep. And that little fucker's too long too. That's got to come out. But you see what I'm saying? Like with removing all of the factory. So you can kind of see that yellow area. So that's the factory foam. There's a layer of foam in the Subaru that gives it a nice front, and that's what we're standing on. That's that thing I said from the factory, that square thing. This is what I was using, old sound deadening, just kind of shoved in there. This is going to sound so much better. Anyways, so that used to go up to there. So in a car, especially when you're spending a lot of time in it and using it as a utility, entrepreneurial startup, this is my vessel through which I create my product, what it is I produce, and my brand. So, I realized it's like when you do, jobs on a car to give it more horsepower. You might have 1 or 2 jobs that give it a lot of horsepower, but the cars that win races, it's all of these little things that they do that add 1, 2, 3, 5 horsepower. And so knowing that is kind of how I approached this. I realized, a half an inch in my perception, which is really what this is about. When you're sitting in this car all the time, all of this stuff, this trim, all of these things, the foam, it takes up space. And perceptually, you'll notice the difference between 1 inch and 1 inch being there and 1 inch not being there, and it's hard to express exactly what you're noticing. But once you know that it's just spatially, we're like sonar. You remove an inch our like subconscious sonars are still pinging that space, and now there's a different response time. So you kind of just sense it. And so I realized I want to create as much space in here for a few reasons. Obviously, so it's more comfortable for me as well, so I can put more gear in here. Also, it lightens up the car. You know, instead of just putting a bunch of stuff in the car, I'm taking a lot of stuff out and then putting stuff in. So that translates to gas mileage, to the performance of the vehicle, the wear and tear on the vehicle. And considering, you know, this vehicle needs to be running the entire time it's in service, I do everything with this car with a thoughtful mind on, you know, what can I do to make the car more efficient? What can I do? I only use super unleaded now. A big change from that. So, yeah. Anyways, enough of the car. So, you know, this is what we're going to work on. Now, as you can see, this is kind of the same thing. Usually your sound deadening is going to be like a butyl rubber. And then once you press it in and it kind of settles and dries, it's almost like a layer of armor. Like you can't really pick this up at all except with a scraper, as ugly as it looks. So, you know, I want to be able to do this right. So I didn't get my roller. And so I go to Dave's house and I'm like, Dave, I need something that rolls something. It just needs to roll. And, you know, he's like, okay, I don't know exactly what that means. And so I kind of showed him a video of how Dynamat goes on. And I said, you know, I actually showed him like, something like a cup. Like, imagine this were a firm cup. And I'm like, well, if I have to, I'll just take the bottom of that and roll it into the floor. I'll just, you know, I'll have something where I can press an edge against it to make it take form. But I said, if you have anything, like ideally a roller would work. I said, or something. He's like, well, I was thinking we got all those painting supplies. He's like, what about the paint rollers? And I'm like, oh my God, absolutely. So that's where we're at now, is I went to Dave's house and I found, this used to be a much larger squeegee, which I shortened for doing, I was going to do my own window tint. So I figured that can help press some stuff in, but he gave me these. And I might primer them first, and this is like a really rock hard, this used to be the painting thing, a really rock hard thing. And then a really small one. I'm like, I can use those. Hella. I don't have to fucking turn them in. And I got, you know, one of these just to kind of soften it a bit, because I don't know if I'm going to cut into it. But then I built this from his toilet plumbing box in the basement. I'm like, I found this. I'm like, well, this is a good rounded edge. And my thoughts were, you know, if I can just, you know, kind of scrape that into the edges, it's nice and round. It won't tear anything. It'll help press it in. It's nice and firm. So I have that. I have the 3 rollers. He loaned me that. So the handle that I've been, well, wherever it was, I've been wielding it throughout all of this video as a pointer, actually goes to this. So, yeah, I got the tape from him, the thinner, the trimmers. That's what in the video they trim the Dynamat with some. Those are basically tin snips, so they're really, really like powerful jaws. He gave me this stuff so that I can make the templates for the windows. So I'm really grateful for that. I think this is like a roofing material. Oh, this is a neat roller. Never seen one of these. Look at that texture. Reminds me of some carpeting I used to know. So that's nice and clean. It's flawless. So let's see here. So this is my mess. All right, so it kind of stinks in here. Degreaser, by the way? Yeah, it's a little stinky. Yeah, let's just see how we're looking. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect, but you know what? I've got this invincible tape. I'm thinking I'm like, no, I'm not going to just run this video. No one wants to watch 30 minutes of me yapping with my back to the camera. Well, maybe writing it. But yeah, so let that dry for a second. Oh, what I wouldn't give for a garage where I could just park the car. I'm looking into some mini storages, but that's not really going to be viable because, mini storages get cased all the time, especially when they know you park a car in it. So I imagine I would just be going to it, pulling in, using the garage, and then putting everything back together and driving home. Like, it's a lot of work just getting to the point where you can do work. And the work that we're doing is to the main backbone of this whole concept. So we're doing work just so that we can do work on the thing that's going to be doing the work, and that's making the videos. So all of these steps, once I realized I wanted to make videos, I'm like, I want everything to be done right. And having this car finished means I'm one button press away from a camera engaging and recording in any number of I'll probably use a MIDI controller or a tablet or something where I'll have automation set up where I press a button and it's a series of commands. Like right now I've got a dual recording mode going, but maybe I only have front camera going if I hit this one button. And so I want everything to be where I don't have to set up the camera. I don't have to do makeup. I don't have to check the lighting. I don't have to position it. I don't have to do a dry run of its audio and its video. I want everything just installed or easily installable and one button press away from recording, because I want the bulk of my time to be spent coming up with content. That's what I want to do. That's what I've always wanted to do, is to just make content and about anything, and to just get really creative with it. And I realized that I would just hate having a messy car every time. I want this to be a part of the content. I want it to be visually spectacular. Well, that's definitely not spectacular. It's visually, absolutely, visually giving me an eye ache. So this just throws me into a tailspin because, it just, I don't know, it's frumpy. It's JV. It's JV. We're varsity, motherfucker. So, yeah, I'm going to kill this, upload it, and hopefully the next video is not going to be that far away, and it will have a nice layer of silver down there. Wish me luck.